Hello, everybody. What is up? Happy Friday. Welcome to Cantina Social Hour. Great to be here. Great to see everybody that is joining us through the chat, through the, even if you're not here through the chat, even if you're just hanging out. We welcome everybody. Thank you guys for being here. Hope you had a great week. Hope that you are ready for a fun show. A good time as always, I hope. I hope I don't scare you off. And if I do, I apologize in advance. Thank you guys for being here. What is up, you guys? Back the bar. We're going to talk about the Cantina, right? That's our focus still. Where is it at? What's going on with it? What more is going to, how high is it going to get? Are we going to get those tiers? Are we going to get one of the tiers, two of them, all of them ideally? We'll talk about that. And we'll talk about some new developments in toy news over the last few days, including with regards to TVC. And we will have a fun time. So sit back, relax, grab your beverage of choice, and have a good time hanging out. We got our sheriff who is hanging out with us, moderating the comments. So please be nice, be kind, be positive. All right, so I want to see who is in the chat with us so far, who's hanging out with us so far this evening. All right, so let's see. We got Dystopian Playgrounds. How is it going? How's it going? Good to see you. Been a while. GA, how are you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, I like the hashtag. Paul, how's it going? Good to see you, Paul. Grant's Galaxy, how is it going? Clone Troop 211, how are you doing? Good evening. My SW guys, how are you? Peak Obi-Wan, how's it going? Peak Obi-Wan. Sakic Score 76, how's it going? Dodgson, where's your blue milk? I don't know, you tell me. Where's my blue milk? That's what I want to know. I guess I should know, right? I'm running this Cantina. Toys Are the Way, how is it going? Good to see you. Trevor, how are you doing? Imperial Sergeant, how's it going? Bob, how are you doing? We got Bonanza, Barraza Collections, how's it going? We got John Miko in the house. He's asking for John. Is John here tonight? I guess we'll see. One John asking for another John. I like it. Howrunner Base, how is it going? We got Britt in the house. Hey, Britt, how's it going? Good to see you. John once again. We got Larry in the house. How's it going, Larry? Larry, I think you owe me some figures. Let's see who else is here with us. We've got Adam. Hey, Adam, how's it going? How's it going? Thank you for being here, Adam. Hope everything is going well. We got Rick in the house. Rick, how is it going? RVW, how are you doing? Good to see you. We are off to a good start. We are off to a good start. 17.28. How are you? Very cool. We got Tim in the house. Tim, how's it going? Nice. We're already having conversations with each other. I love it. Rudy, how's it going? Good to see you. Mary, how's it going, my friend? Good to see you in the house. I think we got everybody. I hope. Bob, how's it going? Greg, how's it going? Road Killer, how's it going? Miles, how are you doing? Trying to make sure I get everybody. Luke, how's it going? Troy, how's it going? Astral Guilt, how's it going? Awesome. We're off to a good start. We got 66 in the house as we kick off tonight's show, Cantina Social Hour. This is the third in our series revolving around the Cantina HasLab. So, of course, that is our biggest focus tonight, is talking about this HasLab. You know, it's a big one, right? I'm stoked about it, and I really hope we get all the tiers. But we're gonna break it all down, see where things are at, and we'll see. We'll see where things are. Marina, how's it going? Good to see you. All right, you're at Galaxy's Edge. Awesome. I love it when people are streaming from Galaxy's Edge. I was there last week, same day that Daisy Ridley was there, and I didn't see her. I was disappointed. Awesome. All right, and Deborah is up and dead. I'm back when my wife got one from an order for me. Awesome. I love it when couples collect. That's the best. All right, I'm going to introduce tonight's panel, and we're going to get this show on the road. Jeffrey, how's it going? All right, so we got two members of the SWTVC podcast, Instagram, website, all that stuff. Huge members of this Star Wars collecting community, and it's great to have them returning to Cantina Social Hour, because I think it's been a minute since I've had either one of them on or both of them at the same time. So first up, we've got John Lindquist, the Vintage Concepts from SWTBC. John, how's it going?
Hello, good. How are you doing?
Doing good. Good to see you.
You too. So I'm in vertical mode, and my browser was having issues, so I apologize for that. But hello, everybody. I'm here. I'm ready for the cantina. Let's go.
Awesome. And I like your shirt too.
Yes, thank you, thank you. The OG Lucasfilm logo.
Totally. And we'll work with the vertical mode. I like mix. It's live, right? I always tell people, we're live. We never know what's going to happen. Like until you're live, like who knows?
Yeah. I had my nice mic and my headphones ready to go, and you know what? Well, we got to roll with it.
We got to roll with it. All right. Love it. And then also Evan Fries from the SWTBC. How's it going, Evan?
Hello there. It is going well, Victoria. Long time no talk. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Also, yes, we Cantina, back the bar. We got to do this.
Yes. I know you're one of the kings of hashtags. So
frustratingly so.
All right, and then making her Cantina Social Hour debut onto Cantina Social Hour, we got Lorena Ryder. How is it going, Lorena?
Hey, doing good. Thanks for having me. Excited to be here. First time.
Yeah, awesome. So the commonality all four of us have is that we have all backed the bar, and we are very excited for the bar, and we hope that we get all the tears with the bar, and we're going to talk about the bar. Have I said bar more than once in this last sentence? Yeah, what's better than a bar with a bunch of crazy aliens running around, smacking each other on the head, drinking, playing music, all that. All right, so let's do quick intros. So I mentioned, John and Evan, you guys have been on the show before, but tell us what's going on, at SWTBC, what you're working on currently and through your content in this collecting community. John?
Trying to find ways to help support the Cantina. Last week did a post about, the bandstand, a lot of deep dives about various things. We had a podcast. We recorded it the day after it was revealed. So if you guys want to hear me talk a lot about the background aliens, there will be some of that tonight. I don't know how much more detail there is to even go into. The word out and sharing, especially in our stories, sharing what other people have done, and posting updates as they come in, and seeing what else we can do.
Awesome. Evan, what about you?
Just same as what John said, being moral support and just along for the ride to do a lot of learning. I'm supposed to say that I know every single one of these Cantina denizens' names and I've committed it to memory, but boy, oh boy, I'm going to tip the hand and say, still working on that memorization. But boy, I picked a bad time to quit drinking with all this bar talk. So yeah.
Nice. And Lorena, tell us a little bit about you and what you do. And again, thank you for being here with us.
Yeah. So I don't run a podcast. I am a sci-fi author, and I like doing toy photography. I just use my iPhone. It's nothing fancy. But it's a lot of fun. I did the Phantom Menace 25th anniversary, like a 30-day celebration leading up to its original release on May 19th. So you might have seen that over on my Instagram. I really got into collecting kind of characters that I would cosplay. So that was sort of my intro. I really am into Doctor Who. So I have, it's like there, you can kind of teeny tiny see my 5-inch Doctor Who collection. And I did like Amy Pond cosplay. So I got her. And so that sort of kicked off, I'm going to do that. And then my husband got into TVC 1.0. He was super into original Kenner back as a kid. And then, he, found his love again. And then I was like, that's cool. These are fun. I'm going to start collecting Padme because I love Padme. She's my favorite character. So that was sort of my gateway drug into the collecting. So I did her, and then I was like, oh, all these senators exist. I'm gonna create the Senate, and then I had to get the Senate pods, and it's a whole foray. And so I'm pretty deep in now. I just got there. You can't really see it, but the Republic
Gunship.
Whip. So that's my big hurrah from, I think, 3 weeks ago now. But yeah.
Nice.
Very nice. The amazing gunship.
I got to show my satine off. So.
Ooh.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, I love that.
Custom satine.
Awesome.
Let's see if we can get her not blurry. But yeah, so I did cosplay Satine as well as this version. And so I was like, I have to have her. And we need #support Satine. We're going to get Tonica. So this is the new March Madness push. I'm putting it here first.
Yes, please. We know Hasbro loves Mandalorians, so why not make one
exactly
their ruler, you know?
Yeah. So
yeah. Very cool. Well, thank you for sharing that, and welcome again to the Cantina.
Yeah. Thanks.
Awesome. So we've got a range of topics that we're going to go ahead and get into that I previewed a little bit earlier. We're going to go ahead and get that started. So let me go ahead and we're going to go ahead and pull up our very first one. So here we go.
This is where the fun begins.
All right. So we're going to start off by not talking about Star Wars because there was something this week that is super cool. And that is the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive from Mattel, Jurassic World Jimmy Buffett figure. Yeah, you heard that right. Jimmy Buffett's getting an action figure for Jurassic World. Totally out of left field. This is a surprise, a huge surprise. And this is coming from Mattel Creations, which, of course, you know, they do convention exclusives, but they've never done anything as far out as Jimmy Buffett from his 2-second cameo in Jurassic World. But yeah, here it is. A limit of 3 per person when it comes out. It will be available at Comic-Con and also online, probably shortly thereafter. And yeah, this is pretty neat. What did you guys think when you saw, like, before you even knew any of the details, when you saw, oh, Bubbles Up Jimmy Buffett, what did you guys think?
I thought I need it.
Yeah, I can't believe, you know, I love the Hammond collection as well, and I collect that line. And I never thought they would go as deep as Jimmy Buffett's 2-second cameo. But, you know, obviously, of course, he can go in the Cantina. He's got he's got his double margaritas that he was so concerned with saving as the dinosaurs were attacking him. Yeah, we needed more cups, 102 cups now for the Cantina. And the shaker of salt, you know, you can give it to him days on because Arcona they can get addicted to salt very easily, I believe, and at least in Legends. So, you know, when the guy pops up, first guy that pops up in the Cantina, he was holding a shaker of salt just off camera. And now we can finally recreate that moment. So, yeah, I could not believe it. Yeah, I love that he's standing in a margarita as well. And he's packaged in a margarita, like a blender, a pitcher.
Yeah.
And is he working at the Spearmint Rhino or what's he doing?
Yeah.
Did they have a video on this page? Because I feel like the
stop motion.
The motion is pretty cool.
Yeah, there was. I don't know if it was like their socials or where, but yeah, they had like a little video somewhere where you could see them, like the dinosaurs, or sorry, flying reptiles, the Dimorphodons bouncing up and down.
The timing of all these things, and with that article that just went around how adults are the biggest consumers of toys, where it's like, yeah, they're really leaning into that with all of these drink themed items going on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
well, last year's, because 2 years ago, this reminds me of the Nedry, the shaving cream, Barbasol, can't use the actual logo or whatever, but the that exclusive that they had, and then last year's was Spielberg, right, with his the clapboard.
Which one was the Ian Malcolm in the book?
They just, I can't remember if that was Comic-Con, but they just have random random exclusives on Mattel Creations. I mean,
okay, yeah. Between this and the Street Sharks, Mattel Creations has my number this year for SDCC. That's for sure.
Nice. Yeah, the Ian Malcolm with the open shirt, that was, I think, 2021, I believe.
Okay.
So when they did, and then they had the Ray Arnold before that, I think, that had the he came with the raptor and then the arm that came off.
Yeah.
And then I think it was like 2 years ago they did the T-Rex that came with Gennaro.
Oh, right. On the toilet.
Yeah, on the toilet. Yeah.
That's the one that I missed. I'm bummed.
Yeah, people wondering where's the Cantina's toilet. You got to get that set as well. So it's just really world building from Mattel as well.
Mm-hmm.
They shot that part in LA.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is TMI, John. We don't need to know that. TMI. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool, and the box is really nice. I think I'm gonna go for 2 because usually with these exclusives they do for Jurassic, I don't really do like box Jurassic. I mean, box TVC is enough, but for certain things like this, I will usually like spring for an extra to keep in the box. So I'm probably gonna go for 2. I will be there at SDCC, so I'm hoping I'm able to snag them there. If not, it's nice that they're going to be available online as well.
Yeah.
They did sell out of Spielberg last year, though. I remember that. I got 2, and then they sold out like shortly thereafter.
Sometimes the website, their stuff can move pretty quick. So.
Yeah. Mark, how's it going? Thanks for coming on and hanging out with us tonight. Good to see you.
Hey, Mark.
And I got to meet Mark at Comic-Con last year, and that was awesome. Mark, are you going to be going to Comic-Con this year? Yeah, so this is a fun set. There's a lot of people excited about it, and it makes me wonder, like, what is the production run like? Do they know that people are like secretly like really excited for this, or are they kind of playing it safe and making like less of them? Like, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out because other exclusives, it's kind of hit and miss, right? The Spielberg sold out. Some of them have been available for a really long time following the convention. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, so that is our little Jurassic World fix for this episode because there haven't been a lot of it lately, but something will tie into it a little bit later. I guarantee that. There was another SDCC exclusive that we caught wind of within the last couple of days, and that is this is from yakface.com, the Darth Maul with Sith Speeder. So so they're doing an exclusive for Black Series at SDCC. Not sure if TVC is going to have one. There hasn't been anything announced yet. But hey, there's going to be something Star Wars from Hasbro at SDCC, and it is tying into an anniversary that has not been carried into the vintage collection. But here we go.
Yeah, that's a whole other topic. But personally, this does look cool in and of itself. And I know it's based on the old 12-inch scale packaging from 25 years ago, which I think is kind of fun. But and they've done this Darth Maul look on the Episode 1 packaging a few times. I know it's obviously I would have loved to see some stuff in it for Episode 1, 25th and TVC, but it is what it is. And we have the speeder a few times over in 3.75, so I'm not too bummed about it coming to only to 6-inch, but
yeah, I have this. It's the figure is interesting because it in the 3.75 that it sits really well. Like it doesn't stand well, but it sits on the bike really well, and everything's like the arms are really loose, so they can grab. It's good for the speeder. I like this packaging. This is pretty cool. It's very, that original, 99 look when those were first coming out, calls back to that. Even the bubble font, everything looks identical. So that part's cool. And I see they have the silver binoculars instead of black, which I think is the big variant in TVC Mall, if you look at that. So
yeah, and it's one of those that the figure is coming out later this year in that big box set with Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan. So there's a couple ways to get this. People just want Maul. Maybe this is a better way to go. It's assuming you can get it online. I love how this has that 25th anniversary logo on there. Anyway, I'm not going to get into that again, but John Miko says that the box is a homage to the 12-inch Hasbro packaging from back then. So that they did back when they used to do 12-inch figures a long time ago, not counting the shampoo bottle type things, but Yeah, they used to do like 12-inch. They were the only ones doing the 12-inch figures at the time. Let's see here.
I'm trying to see, because TVC hasn't had it for a while. They moved, I think, the planned San Diego exclusives to PulseCon a few months later. I'm trying to look. Clearly, I've been doing so much Cantina research. I don't remember anything about anything else. But
wasn't last year's Kersantin SDCC though still? Which
okay.
Victoria, thank you for helping me get that when that dropped.
Oh yes. See, so I'm wrong already.
Yeah. I got a great memory sometimes about certain things.
Yeah, that was a deluxe box, didn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, with the extra accessories and everything.
Yeah. Like memory is such a weird thing. Like somebody will tell me something important and then they'll be like, hey, I told you about that. I'm like, oh yeah, sorry, I forgot. And then you ask me like some random obscure like Star Wars thing about like Jabba's palace, and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's so and so, or Tannis Spyjack or whatever, Yeah. Yeah, and it is still available too. So I don't know that helps the case for an SDCC like exclusive for TVC, the fact that it's still like available and has Repulse, but it was kind of a weird one too, because then it came out again in a deluxe format once again.
It was very expensive. It was 40 some bucks, right? For just So and
then sometimes with these exclusives, they like plus up a current or upcoming figure with more accessories, or Palpatine had the throne a few years ago, or like this mall is coming in the 3-pack, and we know it's coming in the main line as well. So they're really milking the mall already. But at least this speeder is unique to it. So I assume, unless they're releasing it outside, but I doubt it.
Yeah, but it's a neat exclusive. If you love Darth Maul, and who doesn't? You get a speeder too, which is nice. That there's a little vehicle for Black Series. They don't really do the vehicles anymore, so it's cool.
Does this one have the little hole on the front that you can put the lightsaber accessory through and have Maul fly around with his blades sticking out like the 3 3/4-inch one?
I didn't see it.
I wish it did.
Yeah,
all right.
I bet it doesn't shoot the probe droid at the back from the spring launcher either. But
action features.
Yeah, I do like that it comes with like a backdrop for display. So that's always I'm always looking for that when I'm, if I get something, I'd rather get beat up packaging with a good background that I can use in photos. So.
Yeah. It's fun to add those in the display, throughout the display here and there.
Yeah.
For a little scene right there.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's neat. Well, TBD if there will be a TVC. I'm getting confusing myself. Exclusive at Comic-Con this year. We'll see. All right. So what do you guys say we go on to the HasLab?
All right.
All right, let's do it. We got 114 in the house. Welcome. If you're just joining in, we're talking about the Cantina. So you're just in time to hear about the Cantina. All right, so let's see here. Let's talk about where this is at. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up Hasbro Pulse. And I believe that we've hit a milestone number this week in the last couple of days, because it was in the news. I saw it on the news. Did you guys see it was actually, it broke the news, like that it passed like 6,000.
Huh.
Yeah, here, I think I have the news clip. One sec.
I did catch Kermit, so now that you're showing it again.
All the top reporters came to comment on this.
Best of the best. All right, so here is the HasLab Cantina, and it is currently sitting at 6,226 backers, which is awesome. And I forgot to do this last week, but we started off at the beginning by saying where it was at and then saying, hey, at the very end, we're going to see where it's at. See if it's jumped. The number did jump. I just forgot to show it. So I'm going to do that this time. It's at 6,226. We'll see if that number increases. If anyone here in the chat that's tuning in has not backed the bar and you intend to do so but haven't done so already, what better time to do it than during Cantina social hours? We're going to keep track of this number. If you do end up backing it, please let us know in the comments that you have backed it during the course of this stream. But yeah, it's past 6,000. It's trudging along. So it's more than 3/4 of the way there. The goal being, of course, 8,000 for the initial offerings of the playset, Wooher, the bartender, and the 2 Tonica sisters. Whether it's the base offering or the deluxe offering, you get all that stuff. So what do we think? 6,000 isn't too bad. It jumped a little bit this week.
Yeah, they did a couple. It's great to pass 6,000 on the way to 8,000 and beyond. There was a few jumps this week. I know I'm refreshing it constantly, as I'm sure we all are. And then every now and then it'll jump up by 150 or 200. And some people wonder what's going on. But I remember during the Ghost, they mentioned that sometimes they'll do some international dumps. Sounds funny, but I don't know which territories aren't being included in this. I think maybe Australia, New Zealand, whatever, people that have to get through a third party or something. So sometimes if you see a big spike, that might be it. But it also had a nice jump yesterday, I think, after the news from that Q&A came back. And, when Hasbro Pulse decides to promote it, maybe once in a while they can actually remind people that this exists. So all the fan sites can take a 5-minute breather. But that usually helps as well when there's new Star Wars drops and emails coming to people. So I want to see more of that from them. That would be great.
Yeah, they did that Q&A this week. Would have loved to have. I'm still confused around the secrecy of that, but because it was just really good video content. I think I would love to see them do a more engaged another promo video for this thing. I know they did the one with Emily and Matthew. Yeah, that was really good to kind of get people amped and to really get to see it and explore it a little bit more. I think those kind of things are really important for these, so people can really just see them, but in a frame of reference with a human being and a table where you might display it. I know for the Ghost campaign, they did a couple things where they showcased the Ghost where you could take the wings off and, hey, you could display it on the top of a shelf against a wall. And so I am glad that they've mentioned, like, they've released the dimensions for this and really tried to talk about the modularity and very much designing it in a way that it is, you're not locked into the scene in one way. You can play with it. You can design the cantina as you want, which is really cool. So I just would like to see them lean more into this kind of thing, put more oomph into it and put more behind it. Because John, as you said, it's like, it'd be nice if the fan sites can take a breather. So,
and yeah, not to take up all the time, sorry, but I transcribed the Q&A, and I know we're going to get into the Q&A, but they had it out on display on the table. And that was the first time I really got a sense of how enormous this thing is. And I know last week with the video, they showed how modular it is, which is awesome. But if you want to display it as it is in the movie, it's so big, it's so impressive, it's so awesome. And I think, it helps to show, it would help if they actually showed that footage or released more footage of that. And, because we're not getting a convention appearance until after the campaign is over, just to let people know how impressive it really is in person. Is always a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I definitely agree that, like, any marketing is helpful. I feel like you're saying it's hitting the emails, just a reminder. People, in marketing, I work in marketing, and you have to see something like 10 times before you see it one time, So if they're not doing enough, it's frustrating, I think.
Have you guys been getting any paid ads on socials? I have not for this.
Not a single one.
No.
There was a lot for the Rancor and some for the Ghost, I believe. Quite a few for the Ghost, actually.
Mm-hmm.
But none for this one.
I got served ads for the Rancor a few months ago.
We
talked about that on our show.
I get served ads on YouTube, or did a while ago, for the E-Wing, like months after it's sold, like pre-sold out. I would get like the full Chris Rife experience as a pre-roll on YouTube. And it was like, oh, cool. For people that haven't seen it, they can go pre-order it. Oh, just kidding. It's not available anymore. Just kidding.
Yeah, that seems to happen a lot. Not just with Hasbro, but I see it with other companies too. It's like, oh, that hasn't been out for like 2 years. Why are they promoting that?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's a platform ad issue versus the actual company, but
yeah, it could be.
Yeah, not to tip the hand, but yeah, I don't, because I work in meta ads and stuff as part of my job, and I'm a little concerned that it's not that hard, but I digress. So
yeah, it's interesting. And this is one of the things we talked about last week, is that there's not there hasn't been a lot of promotion for it, and the little promo that there is, doesn't seem to really be resonating the way it needs to. Like just even going back to that initial June 7th video where they showed kind of like the flying through the Cantina model thing, and it had like contemporary music, and it just I don't know. I feel like they need to get a handle on that better. How they're pushing it. Push it more definitely, but kind of like work on that a little bit, because I think you want to rope people in. It's got to be a little more exciting. It's got to feel a little bit more like Star Wars.
Well, just with the whole delay, and I'm sorry, stop me if I'm rambling, but with the whole delay and the extra time they had, I wish that they had the time to maybe finalize the paint model of the other characters that they pipelined alongside it, to be like, hey, look at them interacting with this thing, look at these characters that you also want and have asked for years in it. And instead, you get the look at them in shadow and they're coming, wink, nudge, and it's like, okay, well, I'd like to see it all, but
yeah,
we want it all and we want it now.
Yes,
as Freddie Mercury once said.
Rob says it seems like the only promotion I see is posts from Steve Evans. Yeah, he's posting about it a lot.
Yeah, I don't think there's been an in-feed post on obviously there's more than just Instagram, but there hasn't been an in-feed post about it since it was announced. I don't know, comparing it to the others, I don't know how different that is, but it's been 3 weeks now. And can we get a little more notification about this, please?
yeah, and it's pretty far. When you go onto the Pulse site, you have to scroll I think 4 or 5 things down to even see it. So
yeah,
it's kind of buried now.
Yeah,
sometimes it comes back up and goes back down when something else comes out, but yeah,
maybe they're saving it all for a final week push. They're just going to go nuts. They're going to reshoot the entire Cantina scene, but with toys.
Oh, someone's going to do that, I'm sure, in the community, and it's going to be awesome when it happens.
Yeah.
Yes, but if they can do it before the backing window ends, so they can boost those numbers a little bit, please and thank you. Chop chop.
Yeah. I'm thinking of doing an ad just for fun, what my ideal ad would look like for something like this. So maybe I'll do that and post it next week. We'll see if I have the time to do it. So John, you said you have a transcript of the questions, right? From the
yes.
Okay, awesome. You're on top of things. I love it.
Oh.
We'll get to that in just a second, but I do want to pull up so we can look at this progress just a little bit further. I want to go ahead and track the progress. And to do that, I still have the tracker here. Mr. John Nico's HasLab tracking dashboard. So we'll go ahead and see where things are at. So very handy tool. And it keeps track of all the data. And I know we went over this pretty in depth last week when John Miko was on the show. But basically, we're looking at, where things are currently based on what day we are here on the bottom. On the, it's refreshing. On the x-axis and the y-axis is telling us the thousands, like the backer total. So currently, we are at day 32. And if we track the Cantina to see where it's at, we have a comparison here with the forecast and then the actual Cantina itself. So right now, real time, we are pushing up on that a little bit beyond 6,000. Once we get to 8,000, we'll unlock the base offering, but then we'll need to keep going in order to get all those tiers that we want. So it's looking pretty promising as of right now. The forecast for day 32 is showing the run total of 13,239 based on current progress. If I'm reading that correctly. So I obviously I want all the tiers, but that it would be better to at least get one of them than none of them at all. So what do we think?
It's as you said, I listened to your episode of the podcast that you just dropped today, and echoing the sentiment of it does no good to wait to back it if you're waiting to see if it unlocks the tiers. If you think you want it, back early, back now, because it helps unlock the tiers. We all get an added value to what we're buying with this thing, the more people that jump in. So again, if you want it, if you can afford it, that stuff, don't put yourself out of a home if you can't. But
we're either telling people too much or not enough to back it. We're never telling people the exact right amount.
Yeah.
But momentum is so important with these things, because the final, they always spike the first couple days and the last couple days, but as much as we can get and as much momentum as we can get and as high as it can get before the last couple days, because then people are going to jump on once they know that it's a reality, once they know it's actually happening. They do want it, but maybe they've been waiting, or maybe they don't. They think they get charged early or whatever. Any misconceptions that they have. But yeah, and I know I've seen a few different, because Miko's doing the great tracker, and then I know Geek Dad Life has a tracker, and Rife Junctionite, it has some projections, and then I saw Ultimate Battle Station on Instagram with periods in between on the ultimate.battle.station. Had an optimistic version, so I'm choosing to believe that currently, where if you look at both, like Giant Man it didn't even fund until the final day, and then it got almost 14,000. And then Sky Striker got almost 17,000 because the final day had an enormous, huge jump on that one.
Mm-hmm.
I know everything's different, and always in motion is the future, but it's not completely out of reach, especially if we keep getting those backer numbers up in the next week before the final few days.
Yeah, totally. And this tracker here, the projection here, it's or where it's at is alongside the Giant Man, and I think from what we discussed last week, that's kind of the most similar in terms of how it played out, and we can see the Cantina it has backed further than Giant Man did at the same time, day 22. Of course, that did have a longer window to run. The full I guess 45 days for that one, as is with most HasLabs, and this one's more abbreviated. But it's doing a little bit better than that, so that's always promising to see.
Yeah, and I mean, if you hover over like 39 or 40 for Giant Man, that's creeping up to where we're at right now for the Cantina. So even though it's like a longer period, they didn't really have big gains during that period. It starts to spike, before the super spike.
That's a good point, because you're right. It's like it was day like 41. It looks like about between 40 and 41 where it hit where the Cantina is at now.
Which it could be why they did that. The answer wasn't super clear or all that impressive in the Q&A about why the shorter time, but these are the doldrums of any HasLab campaign. Is just that middle stretch is there's not a whole lot of like, oh, whoa, throughout. It's that early and last bit that really is just like, oh boy, we're in for a treat, or seeing where it's going.
So it'll be interesting to compare afterwards. I can't predict the future as much as I try, but it'll be fun to afterwards see how it relates to the longer campaigns, the normal 45-day campaigns, and if this just removed some of those doldrums that where they don't get a lot of backers anyway, typically. I think usually it's been, even those slowest days have still been beating the slowest days of some of the other ones. So
and we have like this weekend and next weekend. So I feel like people have this weird payday brain where the money isn't real until they have it, even though it's not being taken out right then. So maybe we'll get, next next payday, even more, extra push after the holiday.
I guess
we can all scream it till we're blue in the face that it doesn't charge until it's done. But
yeah. If you can't emotionally hear it, you're not going to be able to.
For sure.
No matter how much we say.
Yeah, well, and we'll touch on that again at the end. RVW says, on the fence on backing, only want the figures, but that's a lot of money for 3 figures, possibly 6. Yeah, so, I know we've all touched on this. I mean, it's the kind of thing, if you just want the figures, sell a Cantina, right? Keep the figures, sell a Cantina. That's an option. I'm sure that the figures themselves on their own, if that was your investment versus the playset, will more than pay for the Cantina eventually. Also, Ivan, thank you so much for the super chat. I'm still optimistic we'll hit all the tiers in the last day surge. I've learned not to underestimate TVC collectors. So we will see. We will see.
And may I just say, I hope all of these optimistic projections are correct. I'm holding out hope for it because I'm a figure first collector. I want all 6 of these figures so damn bad. I need them. I need them, guys. Let's do this.
Yeah,
shoot for shoes.
I need to do the arm behind the back setup. They showed us in the reveal. Like that has to happen in my life. So.
Yes. Oh my God. I need on my shelf. I need the our little shoes pose on my shelf at work so that anyone comes in, they just go, I need it. I want that. It speaks to me. This speaks to me, people.
We have more notes, and then you see, oh, never mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one I wanted after the Tonicas. Like Arleo shoes is for years now. It's like the one that I wanted right after them. So.
Also, Victoria, the way you pronounce our little shoes is exactly how I've always pronounced it in my head. So thank you for validating me because I'm always the guy that everybody makes fun of for being the worst at pronouncing names. So.
Yeah, I mean, most of these are just names that nobody's ever said, right? That you've read them like, in books and comics and whatnot, but like, so you have
iconic
to pronunciation. Yeah, like Kitty Kak. Like that's how you say that name. I don't know any other way to say that.
There's the guy, the Sakian guy, who's got they painted his face completely black. I know his name, DJAS space PUHR. I've heard you say it a few. How do you pronounce that one? Victoria?
I say it Dapur.
Oh, okay. I remember back in the day, that might be right. That might be 100% right. I remember people saying it's like a joke, and his name is supposed to be Jasper. Mm-hmm. So like it's like JASPER, but just through a Star Wars filter. There's no way of knowing what's right here. It's make your own fun.
Yeah, I've heard it that way too. I've thought it that way too. And when I first bought that figure, I still remember the day I got it at Walmart. Thinking like, how do you say this guy's name? I remember asking my mom because I was still living at home at the time. It was so long ago. And she was like, Dapur, and I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I'll just go with that.
Yeah, so. Yeah, I really don't know. One thing, a comment from 4 minutes ago, Patrick Reen mentioned something that I'm very excited about that I didn't notice until a couple people pointed it out this week. Most excited for the inclusion of the double Jossamer, the missing modal nodes instrument. And I know that Porg Dameron was the first person I saw on social media to mention it. And I talked about it with Tanith Toyard, and Evan pointed it out to me as well. And it's on that the menu of accessories. You can't even see it in A New Hope. I didn't realize that it's supposed to be in A New Hope, I guess. But it's like a maypole looking thing in the holiday special. It's front and center in the holiday special with the band, and where the guy's just kind of like smacking it and like, I don't know how you're supposed to actually play it.
Just kind of batting it around.
Yeah, he's playing
a theremin. You touch.
Yeah, like an invisible tether ball or something. But and then I did a deep dive this week. I rewatched the Cantina behind the scenes of the Cantina panels with Tom Spina and Pablo Hidalgo, which are treasure troves of incredibly minute details that I love. You can see them on YouTube. They did one about the England shoot, one about the LA shoot, and one about Jabba's Palace, and one about the holiday special. But there they said that instrument is in the Cantina behind the ones you can see. So you can't even see it. Didn't even know it was actually there. But that is supposedly the long lost missing instrument that we've all been waiting for. That I've been waiting for anyway.
Mr. Holiday Special
Yes.
over here.
Yeah.
Mr. Holiday Special Chewbacca is my favorite figure
Yes,
of
it was the
2023.
best release. He's behind me somewhere, but he's always in my heart.
I
God
got
bless you,
mine
John.
right here. He's just chilling here. I don't know why. It just happens to
Yeah,
be.
yeah,
Casually on demand.
yeah.
Yeah, no, that is cool. That is cool that they're throwing that in the set. All right, so I'm going to take a look through the comments, see what folks are talking about. There's a lot of comments, so we thank you guys for commenting and having your side conversations. But I'm going to be nosy and see what you guys are talking about. Adam says, if the tonicas are being made, truly anything is possible. Yes, 100%. Troy says, we need to do this. The cheapest time to buy the bar. We won't have this chance again. Absolutely. This is it's never going to cost less than it costs now, and it's never going to be available beyond like the secondary market after the next several days. So get in on that, back the bar. Miles asking, anybody making back an extra legacy in Saga Aliens held on to all these years? I mean, if you're backing the bar, you probably want those, I would think. But yeah, maybe, I mean, they're obviously on eBay being sold at high prices, some of them. So, somebody is. Are those people backing the bar though? Who knows? This is a good question. Hot dog, welcome. If they released a 4-pack of Cantina Aliens, which 4 would you guys want? This is tricky because I'm trying to think, is this all brand new sculpts, or is this like, are they bringing back older figures from the past? I guess let's say these are just whatever 4 you could possibly want updated or new sculpts. Evan, we'll start with you.
Bold to assume that I know 4 characters from this scene. I'm a fake fan. No, I'm just kidding. On our podcast, we talked about it where it's not a 4-pack, but I had, was wondering, is there a way to get Dr. Evazan and Ponda Baba back out there? Could they leverage any of the existing parts to maybe cost out then 2 all new ones if we were to do it as a 4-pack? I'm glad we talked about Jasper. I'm glad we talked about him because I loved that figure as a kid, and that is one that I actually would love a modern update to. And yeah, I know they've already done, Lax Sivrak, but I'm a sucker for these Wolfman sort of things. And then if they did a modern definitive, Lax Sivrak, that's only a stone's throw away from something else that I would maybe want, Vulvivman from, different media. But yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Nice. John, what do you think?
I got a long list, but I would love to see. I'd love to see new species that have never been done, especially Othello or Onelco or Solomahal, whatever you want to call these guys. They are the Lutrillians. They were on set in London. They have not been made. They're the hair mouse, kind of like Mosep, but they're larger. And they're talking to the Tonicas in one of the deleted scenes. So they're in one of the rough cut that you can see on Disney Plus. You got to shout out Sizvit, not my favorite design, honestly. I think George was right to kind of minimize him in all edits of the movie. But Arlel Shus is my most wanted alien from the Cantina, so obviously I really hope we get him. And in those panels, they pointed out how, and I know we'll talk about reuse of some of this stuff, but that jacket is worn. I know I think Miko pointed out last week on the stream, that jacket is worn by the 3rd Duros. So not Elorz Medak, who was made 20 years ago, not their partner Banis Keeg, who has never been made, another one I want, but a 3rd Duros, who I believe is sitting behind Greedo, kind of in the shadows somewhere. See, we're really peering into the background here and seeing characters that may or may not even be there. But so you can take Arlel Shus's body, give him the Duros head and hands, and hey, that's a new character right there. And then Nabrin leads can lead to Elorz Medak and some of the other spacer characters because they wore that same space suit, in addition to the one that was worn by the Bosk type guys. So somewhere, I think there was 4 somewhere in there.
Cool.
Rambling off. Oh, and of course, Akmina. Who am I thinking of? Of course, obviously Akmina, number 1, always in my heart.
Nice. I'm going to take the question off, Lorena, because we can't see you because you're blocked by the question. But are there 3 aliens that you think that you haven't seen or don't have that you think you'd like to see in the vintage collection?
Yeah, I think I'm even worse than Evan with names, which, so I'm gonna just say what they look like, and you can figure it out from there. We have John here to help. Or no, he just left in our time. So
I'm right here. Sorry.
Well, I would want Labria, which I guess I do with that name, because I'm a big like Clone Wars Rebels person, and there's a lot of that species just randomly in that show, so we could get future options with that. And then the goat guy,
Godel,
don't
species is Godel. You have your choice of Feltaprin Travag, who was already made, Hinnet Kane, who has not been made, and then Cobb Son Bipal, who's actually sitting with Momanedon and has jumped up my want list. Okay, continue. Sorry.
All right, so we'll pick the one that's on your want list so we can make that scene.
Thank you.
And then let's see. Yeah, I agree with Evan that the Ponda Baba, Mr. I always want to say Ebenezer. But that because they're in so much, I feel we see them, and they're in Bad Batch, right? Is that right? No, I'm thinking of Andor. They're in Andor. So there's so many other options of moments we can get with them. And then I would want like the kind of that gorilla hand as like an alternate accessory that we see, cut off like that arm, because it's just so ridiculous to me. And I remember that like as a kid watching it and just being like, who had a furry arm? Like, I don't why is this arm furry? So I would say that those would be my tops. That's 4. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. But the other ones that we're already getting, right? So, and then in Arcona, an updated Arcona, I think I would want that for similar reasons as the first 2. So
yeah, the Arcona that exists, that was like, because he's the first guy that we, the first guy that pops up, the first close up, we see the guys behind him first. But the design that they gave to him is very like 90s, like to his body, because it's like he has all these pouches and like he looks like Cable or Dash Rendar or something. And he looks nothing like any of the other characters in the scene. So I know that's his design now or whatever, but I'd like just some regular robes for the guy or something. I don't know if we can get a redo on him, Dazon, please. Please. But and then I forgot, and then oh my god, I'm sorry. Two more. From outside A New Hope, Peli Motto and her card player pal, Dr. Mandible, of course.
Was it?
Yeah. Well, if we're going outside, then I'm gonna put Asajj Ventress and the Clone Wars episode.
We can go out. We can go outside. I was advised by my lawyer and my therapist, who are the same dude, highly recommended by people who are both dead or in prison. But anyway, to not talk about those things. So how dare you? It has to be from A New Hope.
The yes, because that's her bounty hunter look when she's in her bounty hunter days. When she does it, that I have loved that design. That is one of the designs that I have wanted. They never made that figure back in the day in the animated line or anytime since. That's my favorite look for Ventress, and she kind of wears something similar nowadays in the Bad Batch and stuff, but not exactly. But it'd be amazing.
Yeah,
it's similar enough that it wouldn't be a big retool. Other than
yeah, definitely.
I think my 3 would be, and I'm just thinking brand new sculpts, assuming that our Leo Shoes gets unlocked, and I hope he does. I'd have to be Renat, because I'm thinking all new aliens we never had. Zizvit would definitely be essential, and then Acmina. Those would definitely be the 3 like I would go for. And I think you can do Acmina by now that we have the Tonica sisters, right? B. Arthur was like 5'10". I think we can repurpose one of those and just kind of retool it a little bit. Add some soft goods, new head. I think we could get there with that. But I see the middle-aged Cuban man collecting Star Wars, who was on the show last week, is with us tonight. Kiara, how are you doing? And then let's see here. We have a very kind from Marco Martinez, $20 super chat. This is for Angela. My question: what new Cantina character we need, and any update on the older figures, and what else can Hasbro do to promote this? Happy the Tonica sisters being done. They deserve it. TVC 3.75 forever. All right, yeah, thank you again, Marco. And yeah, as far as updates, okay, so we can talk about updates too. I said kind of like more. I was thinking newer sculpts, but you know, we can definitely talk about some updates too. What new Cantina character do we need? We kind of covered that, and any updates. So there are many figures that need updates because, you know, they date back to the Power of the Force too, right? You know, Ebony mentioned Lax Sivrak, and that's one that I'd love to see updated. But there's quite a few. So most in need of an update. One figure most in need of an update that came previously. Let's say we can all pick different figures just out of curiosity. John, what do you think?
Well, Lorena already said it, but Labria, I think, could definitely use an update. The costume is totally inaccurate on the original figure. It wakes me up at night every night at 3 a.m. I say, he wasn't wearing a cape in the movie. He was never wearing a cape. So, you know, that would be, I think, one that needs an update. But I guess he said, sorry. Circle back to me after the rest of you answer. I have another one, but...
Nice. Lorena, what do you think?
Yeah, so I need John's help on the name, but this guy, we just picked up Catwall, and he is pretty limited in his articulation. He can't actually hold a cup, so I don't know how he's gonna, you know, participate in such events at the Cantina, but he would definitely be one that's fun and, you know, pretty obscure, I think.
You've seen his legs, right?
Oh yeah, no, they come off.
Yeah.
You can't stand with them off. But...
removable pants action, and he can't sit with them on, which is kind of limiting for...
Yeah, he's very limited, we'll say.
Yeah.
What, you don't take off your pants when you walk into a bar? What bars are you guys going to?
I do, but I'm not allowed in those bars anymore.
Yeah, well, you know, is it a droid? Is it not? I guess that's why he's got his pants on, but there we go.
I think he was supposed to be short, and then they gave him stilts to...
Yeah.
Some Legends thing must have said he was short, and it's like, oh, man.
Yeah, some Legends thing. Yeah. Evan, what do you think?
I mean, I did throw out some out there, and I see Larry Hines also just mentioned the ones that I had as well, Ponda Baba and Dr. Avazan and Lax Sivrak. But the most important update they need to do is they need to re-release the modal nodes, but without those darn pesky and accurate pockets. Kidding.
You can hide your guitar picks in those.
Totally kidding. Yeah, that's a tough one. I think I'm a sucker for those Duros. Which one was the one that was released in Power of the Jedi? That was one of my favorite lines as a kid.
Elor's Medak.
Okay, then yeah, I picked that guy.
And then yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking Lax Sivrak, but then I think Muff Tack is like one of those that just like really needs an update. So
definitely.
Blue Snaggletooth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was writing my list. Muff Tack was also on the list because even in the images they have, the sculpt is whatever, but like he's barely like sitting down. You can kind of rotate his legs a little bit to sit in the booth. But if they did a new Lax Sivrak, which I don't know how likely it is, he was wearing a Jawa shawl, or it looks like a little shawl because it's so small on him. And then in the holiday special, they gave that costume to Arlyle Schuss's mask. So we can get that's another two for another holiday. I'm just always advocating for more holiday special figures. And then the other one that I thought of was Zutmore again. So the original red Snaggletooth, who was from the holiday special, and an original 96. So now that we're getting Greedo, now that we're getting, we already have Ponda Baba, could use a reuse, retool, whatever. Already getting Momanedan, who we'll talk about, I'm sure, and then need Zutmore to round them out for finish the 96.
Real quick, I've noticed, I just saw John Miko said it, and I saw someone else say it earlier, and I know it's a big favorite of our buddy Tim Downey. Does Garandan ever go into the Cantina?
Not that I know of, but watching the black and white one, especially, you see some of these like streets of Mos Eisley characters that like Wyoslia, the Landspeeder salesperson, and sales being, I guess. So I haven't seen Garindan. I pronounce it Garindan. Now everybody says Garandan. I don't know, but Long Snoot, we'll call him. I'm not sure if he actually set foot in there. I'm sure he does on his days off. I don't know if you did in the events of the movie.
Yeah. And I see different comments being mentioned about what should be remade. Rezakai says Labria, made and worn by legendary artist Rick Baker.
Yes.
Yeah, that one definitely. And they did re-release that one, repainted, I think in the Saga collection towards the end, and it looks a little better, but it's still wildly inaccurate.
Yeah, they did that with a couple of them. Like Nabrin Leeds went from like the milky white outfit to the silver outfit. Then with Cave, I believe at that point. But
Cave got an update too. Yeah. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, I wish they would have done an all new tooled Chewbacca, so we had all new Wookiee tooling. Oh, hey, someone else just mentioned Chewbacca, but yeah, then for Chalman and all that.
I think the new legs will go a long way. We need Chalman, we need Kelnaka to go outside A New Hope for a minute, but all kinds of Wookiees, keep them coming. Chrysanthemum's lonely.
Yeah, let's not put him on that 2004 torso anymore, or those hands and arms, please. No, thank you.
Yeah. What's crazy is I'm gonna run a little clip here that every figure that you see in this clip, not every figure, but 4 of the characters you see in this clip, 5 actually, will be a reality should this HasLab fund, September 2025, we should have these in our collections. Let's go ahead and take a quick look, see if you can find them all.
Hey, we don't serve their kind here.
What?
Your droids, they'll have to wait outside. We don't want them here.
It's exciting times.
Yeah, it must be over the moons. Listening to the episode you put out today and just thinking about how much work you've put into raising awareness for the Tonikas over the years, and the fact that they're finally, hopefully on the way. It's just amazing. So, I mean, congrats.
Yeah.
And, on all you've done.
Everyone out there, take a moment and just celebrate Victoria here for all the tireless work to get this done.
Yes.
Thank you. It's wild. I really hope this happens, because then I'll never have to bother Hasbro with this question ever. In fact, I'll probably just ride off into the sunset and just disappear for the rest of it.
And then I'll never have to say the hashtag at the end of a podcast episode ever again. It's gonna be great.
It'll be eternally time for Tonika.
Yes.
They'll be permanently in our collections finally.
I feel like in your interview with Emily, she was just like secretly just like, just wait.
Yeah.
I can't say anything.
Oh, yeah.
I was so happy when it got revealed. I like immediately thought of you. So
yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, what's that like, knowing that when a figure is revealed, or when figures in this case are revealed, probably just about everyone in this community was just like, nah, Victoria.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. That's still biting my, it's a nail biter this last few days of this campaign.
For sure.
Fingers crossed.
back it.
Yes, back the bar. All right, so we're gonna switch gears here to the Hasbro HasLab Q&A that took place on Wednesday. And John, that's awesome that you transcribed it, because I did not.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're here. So let's talk about basically what they did is they showed a video of Chris and Jing there just kind of moving the Cantina around and saying these are the dimensions. There were a few questions there that they took from different people that submitted questions pertaining to this HasLab. So what is the first question that they answered?
It was, can you please break down again what is exclusive to the HasLab from a figure standpoint? Greedo, Nabrin, and Arlyle, are they exclusive, or just their card back and accessories are exclusive? Which has been a question that always goes around when they have these figures in the HasLabs. I won't read their entire answer on everything. We'll be here for another 5 hours, but
it only took 30 minutes, John.
Yeah. They reiterated, yes, for the base characters, Wooher, Cine, and Briatonica will only be available in the HasLab, with no current plans to release them separately. They are exclusive to this set, but then they always have that little asterisk of no current plans. The plans obviously could change in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, but think of them as exclusive for now is what I would say. Yeah. That's my editorializing on that subject. And then they're saying, if there's a little more wiggle room on the others, if we reach our stretch goal tiers, Greedo, Nabrin Leeds, and Arlal Shus will receive exclusive card backs that will only be available in this HasLab project. If unlocked, that can mean we may or may not revisit these characters in the future on different card backs. No guarantees on when or if that would happen. If a tier is not reached, the figure could still be done in the future on a different card back, but that is not guaranteed when or if that would happen. But by unlocking a tier in the HasLab, that tooling would make it more likely for future reuses in the line. So basically, if you want them, back them, but they're not saying this is the only 100% last final chance to ever get Greedo, Nabrin Leeds, or Arlal Shus. The way I see it is they would just take a slot for tooling away from another character. It could be another Cantina character, whatever, from the line if they try to get them in the line later. So if we want more figures, we got to, back to HasLab, back to bar.
Yeah, their answer was so circular.
Yeah,
it reminded me a little of the Ghost, where it was like, asterisks, but for these tier characters,
Yeah.
it really to me was like a card back thing. But then if it doesn't get unlocked, I didn't get the sense that for sure it will happen. Maybe Greedo, just because of that's such a broadly known character, right? Compared to the other three in there, obviously we're all aware, or two. Yeah, two. But yeah, it was. I didn't get the sense for sure we were gonna be getting it unless it gets back like fully through, and then. At that point, it's like, why wouldn't they just sell more things with, straight profit, essentially, off of these toolings they've already done. It's just a repack in a way. So that would make sense, but I don't know. I agree with you, John. Like, it would probably take a tooling spot away if it doesn't. And is that good or bad? I don't know.
I can't see them not making Greedo now that they're already trending that direction, whether he is unlocked or not. But again, echoing what you two just said, I think it would be a bummer if, it was. I think this is a great opportunity to not have to lose out on something else in the future. So,
yes.
Yeah. And obviously they invested time and money into the sculpts and the paint job and the card back designs, but they still have the big cost of actually tooling the figures up, making the metal tools where they can inject the plastic and everything and actually make the figures in the factory, which is a huge cost. And they haven't, as far as we know, they have not paid for that yet. We would be paying for it by funding this, as far as we know. So yeah, never say never, but if you want them, the best way to get them is to back them. Long story short, but it still is confusing, and it's open to interpretation. And the fact that they didn't actually release this and they're relying on transcripts and what people thought they said is not, in my opinion, the most ideal way to have gone about this.
And I think leading on their exclusive card backs is kind of what sort of muddies things with the uncertainties. It's like, we didn't ask about the card backs, we asked about the figures. So
it feels so indirect, and and like, okay, they can't really answer it. We get that, but I don't know. Either just like commit more or just don't commit at all. I don't know.
A simple yes or no, please.
Yeah. It's a very gray answer.
Yeah, that's the one thing. And I know last week I talked about it too, that I really feel is holding this back is that, they've not done anything for TVC as far as Cantina Aliens in years. Like, Figure and Dan, retool, Zutton, repaint. But those are the only two since TVC came back. And, this HasLab comes at a time when that's been the reality. And, I know people have come into this line. There's newer collectors, people have left, and they're looking at this HasLab. Well, okay, it comes with 3 figures, but, who else am I going to put in there? So that's the really one thing I feel like they really need to kind of address is, and they were non-committal in this Q&A about it, there needs to be some reassurance that, hey, if this funds, it doesn't even need to be like a pipeline. If this funds, we will continue to support it with further Cantina denizens, further figures to populate your Cantina, just like they did with the Razor Crest. They even said, like, remember Patrick said every figure that.
Oh, don't never forget.
We'll never forget that. But it doesn't
Point
even
all the
to that
holes.
extent. They don't need to say we're going to make remake every Cantina alien ever that you see in that scene. It just needs to be, you know, we are going to commit to further supporting this if it funds with more, you know, figures. And I think they really need to kind of get the messaging out there on that.
And they kind of did say that in the Q&A to a point, but, you know, we still need characters for all the previous HasLabs. We still need characters for all the previous playsets and vehicles. So it's, you know, I think it's fair to take them at their word, because they have supported the previous HasLabs a lot, but it's also fair to question them and say, look, you know, we want you to keep your promises on all the other HasLabs as well before we go down a whole nother new rabbit hole. I think that's where, and yeah, like you said, because there have only been 2 Cantina figures in TVC 2.0 at all, the repack of Snaggletooth, Zutton, and the Modal Nodes guys. It's like, you know, I don't know.
Well, and, you know, while they may not be up to modern standard, you know, there is 47 years of figures made. Whereas look at the Razor Crest, when that campaign launched, there was not a single 3 3/4 inch Mandalorian figure.
Yeah, and there were no Rebels figures. There were no Rebels figures in the Ghost.
Yeah, there was just a few 5 POA animated style ones for that. So,
yeah. So and I think in the Q&A they did reference how now there's tons of Mandalorian stuff to fill the Razor Crest, and I'm like, except, you know, like,
none
of those rando repacks, repaints actually go in the Razor Crest.
Wait, you missed the scene where the Mandalorian judge and the Shriekawks were inside the Razor Crest?
The Razor Crest that had already been blown up at that point. Yeah.
Well, they were in the world between worlds, probably.
Oh, okay. I didn't think you needed a ship in the world between worlds.
Yeah, and I think with that too, where it is frustrating, then, you know, Season 1 Grief Karga, Season 1 Migs Mayfeld, and Q90, you know, are characters that very heavily interact with the crest in that first season of The Mandalorian. And they are completely absent from the vintage collection. They don't exist, but they were made for the neighboring scale that does not interact with this item. And so it's frustrating watching them, you know, watch the chances dwindle of seeing them for TVC as they go further and further into the rear view, or if those do or don't sell for that demographic, that collector base of Black Series. And it's like, but we need them for our thing as well. Like, they're a part of this world building that, you know, you are saying you're committed to. There's holes. So
Pelimoto is my biggest one.
Yeah, for sure. And now she goes with the Razor Crest and the Cantina now, and as well as the N1.
Yep. But I will say, going back to the, you know, the make the mains thing too, and again, I'm gonna harp on to how pleased I am to see them be like, yeah, we're committing to Luke, Han, Obi-Wan, Chewie. Moma Nadan was he was my most wanted Cantina alien. Back when I first started on Instagram several years ago, he was top of my list with Ben Kenobi of figures that I wanted from A New Hope when they got around to him. So I'm stoked, man. These are like 2 of my most wanted figures.
And I wasn't that they said they'd never done pipelines to go along with HasLabs before, which is not true, because they pipelined Chopper and Sabine last year.
Yeah.
But
remember, they didn't pipeline them. They showed shadows, and they were like, "Oh, but they said it was a pipeline." So yeah, they lied. Okay.
I don't know, but I do appreciate the fact that they did get ahead of it by saying, "Look, we're going to update the main characters. We know you wanted them. They ranked highly in Last Figure Standing and March Madness and everything. People have been asking for them for years to be redone. And of course, Moma Nadan, who I call him Nadon. They say Nadan. We haven't given his proper due, but that was the first reveal of. I'm sure we'll be getting to him at some point, but so they are getting ahead of it a little bit. Obviously we want more. We always want more, but yeah, it does feel like the barge, where it helps if you have 4 decades of figures to populate it.
It's a parking lot for the years that you've invested into this.
Yes,
this hobby, as opposed to something that may be newer. Is we need the stuff now to go with it. So. but not to say sorry, I don't want to dig myself a hole here. I'm not trying to say
we-
anything negative here.
But we, so they touched on this in some of the other questions. I know we've kind of covered a lot, but should I go on to the next question? Do you want to go on all 10? Some of them weren't as thrilling as the others, but
Well, a couple of them repeat. I think questions 4 and
Yeah.
10 are the exact same, if I'm not mistaken.
people asking about lights in a floor, and it's like, well, we already know they're not included. And
Yeah.
the floor was, we've all been talking about the floor, and you talked about it last week. I know middle-aged Kiwi man, Jason, just thinks it's crazy that anybody's asking for the floor. It's like, let it go. But they did address that, the modularity is important to this, and finding a display that works for everybody's individual collection was important. And, putting the value into the figures and the set itself was more important than a floor. I'm sure people can go to Home Depot and find a nice little sheet of whatever and use it, and we'll all be fine. And you can cut it exactly how you want it for your collection.
Yeah. Put the peg holes that you need and where you want them. Yeah.
And like you can see, this is like the size of my apartment, basically.
Yeah.
So there's nowhere to put, we're going to have to display modular, So and I don't think I'm a rare case in this occasion.
No.
We don't all have giant space, sadly. But I would love that. But it's just practical where I live.
Yeah, so. We're running out of coffee tables to put these things on. One thing I thought was interesting was about the different boxes that these would come in. I know people have been wondering about that. And they said, the base offering will come in that classic vintage collection HasLab style packaging that everybody knows, like the Razor Crest and the Ghost, that sort of style. The deluxe edition will include that same box, so the base and deluxe will both come with the same box. But it will also include an additional brown box, kind of a standard corrugate box that will house the additional pieces for the deluxe offering. Both of those parts for the deluxe will be in the same shipper, so they'll still come together, but you'll have the one retail box, the TBC box, plus a brown box for deluxe. I know Evan was contemplating getting both in order to get both boxes.
Yeah, and I did, because I was erring on the side of caution, because I am that kind of collector where, I gotta have my opener and I gotta have my carded, but I do also, find the packaging variants very fun. If there had been a different box for the deluxe Cantina, I would have, obviously, since I was already in for 2, because I wanted 2 of the figures, I would have been stoked about that. But I do understand the reasoning behind them not doing that, because again, if someone only wants one or can afford one or needs one, why leave them with a hole in their collection if they also like having the packaging? So yes, I understand it. While I'm a little disappointed, I get it.
Yeah, I actually really like that they took that route. I do have a question for anyone backing the deluxe. How are you planning to keep this extra box? Are you going to keep the shipper box?
I'm going to get it in an acrylic case.
AFA graded.
No one can ever know what's inside it.
Yeah. You just put it behind. I guess you could put it inside. I don't know. I'm just wondering. Now I'm I want to see the packaging.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Is it going to just be a plain brown box that someone hastily writes Cantina on,
DX.
Yeah. You've got Chelman's Cantina and Schrodinger's Cantina. So
we only just saw the Ghost box, so it'll still be a while before we see anything official. But this is the first time at least TBC has done one of 2 options. So I'm glad they answered that. Even if people are still confused, some people thought the brown box would be in the base box, but no, it's going to be separate as far as I know.
Yeah.
From the base box, but it'll just be all shipped, to you. You won't get the base offering shipped to you on Monday, and then the deluxe add-on shipped to you on Tuesday. You'll get it all in the same thing. So
I wonder, because the shipper, sometimes there's 3 boxes, so it's the actual gets beat up in the mailbox. Then there's kind of has a print that's sort of black and white. So that yes, okay, we're getting a little.
We collect cardboard here.
And then it's you get this Well, yeah, but then there's also
Yeah.
inside that the other that's like
Yeah.
that black and white, black on the cardboard print that I'm wondering if that will be how the bonus box is inside the shipper. Like it just is. I'm
some of them,
curious.
sometimes they double up on the cardboard and stuff.
Yeah.
It'll have more cardboard than the Ranker Black Series campaign, so that's what we need.
Yeah, I think it'll just be an insert. If it's the same box, and there's less parts, probably just gonna be another cardboard insert that goes in there to make up that space. So I don't think we're missing anything by.
Okay, so you think it'll be the same shipper box? You think all of it'll fit in the TBC box?
Yeah, I think that it's going to have the same box on both deluxe or standard.
Okay.
It'll just have like an insert in there to fill up that space that it would have had if it was the deluxe.
Yeah, that would make the most sense.
I love how we have so many questions that we're on.
And even here, even after this, we think different things because I think it'll be
I think it's outside the box.
I think it'll be the TBC box and then another box and then the shipper box. But then you think, I don't, who knows?
Victoria likes to think inside the box.
Yes. So clearly they cleared up a lot of stuff in this clandestine behind closed doors Q&A that we're not allowed to tell anybody about.
And then we all have more questions.
Yes. But the box will be the same, whether anything else will be added to it or inside it, we don't know. But
yeah. No, I think Victoria, I think you're right. That makes the most sense that they would just have an insert. Where the deluxe would have the additional.
Yeah, I think that the outer box, the shipper box, will have some like labeling that's a little different. It's going to specify it's the deluxe, but other than that, I wouldn't anticipate anything else different.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for the social media posts from people that forgot which one they got, and they think they got the wrong one, and
or someone that gets a box and they open it up and it's oops, all cups.
They also talked about the stage. We've gone over the stage in great detail. You've gone over it. We went over in the podcast. There is no stage. Doesn't exist.
When Chris started answering that, I was like, hey, I've heard this one before.
Yeah. Yes, they're just in an alcove. The band should just be in an alcove. Pick one of the alcoves and rock on, and there you go. They want to make more figures. They said at Comic-Con they will not be doing Return to Tatooine stuff. I still interpreted Return to Tatooine as only A New Hope stuff. I know that like Steve Evans put out a post of all the A New Hope Tatooine stuff, and then John Miko put out one that added Cobb Vanth, and then Steve Evans said, oops, yes, Cobb Vanth is part of this too. So I don't know, take your pick. It's not like they're going to have a sticker on the card or anything. I'm sure Tatooine appears in 90% of Star Wars, so I'm sure they will be making stuff from it outside.
Good thing my most wanted figure was on Tatooine, so fingers crossed. I need that real bad. I want that. So let's make it happen. Let's return to Tatooine.
But so yeah, there's going to be more Cantina stuff, and there's going to be more non-Cantina stuff, and there will be as he said, the San Diego Comic-Con stuff will not be related to the pipelines and reveals will not be related to the Cantina. So we're going to have to wait a little longer for Othello and Cabe and everybody. But I think, that was about it from the Q&A, unless there was anything else.
Well, other than the two questions that were just like, but when's more stuff coming? Or like, when are you going to make this, and this? And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
A question that always bears fruit in the Q&A is when is this coming? Like, well, we can't tell you. Okay, thanks. But so it's on their minds to make more.
Yeah. Well, Comic-Con is just around the corner, and even if there's no like Return to Tatooine stuff, it'll still be interesting to see, and at least when you're face to face with them, you can talk to them and see it.
I do wish, just since we were talking about the length of the campaign earlier, I mean, I still am kind of baffled why they wouldn't have it end maybe during Comic-Con, like where people could see it in those final days. Like, hey, you got 48 hours to get this, and it's gone forever. I don't know.
I think, because last year they debuted the Ghost there, and I think that was. Were you there for that, Victoria? I can't remember who else was there. And so was that just awesome seeing them bring it out and everybody getting excited in person? And
Yeah, because they announced it during their panel, and then they said, "Okay, follow us downstairs, and we're gonna bring it out." And then Chris Wright came out like with this big old like thing that he, like it almost looked like he was gonna drop it, but now he navigated through the crowds and then managed to get it set up on the table there. But yeah, it was really cool.
Yeah, and I think seeing the video, and I know a lot of other people were there and shared videos, and they got to do live Q&As and share the full thing to everybody, and just to create an extra moment of hype, and all the thousands of people at Comic-Con who aren't so plugged into the TVC community as we are, you might pass by and say, "Oh my God, I've wanted a Cantina for 30 years, 40 years."
Yeah.
And I didn't even know they were making one. That's awesome. Let me see more about this. Let me find out more about this. But now we just lose that by not having. And not every HasLab is in person, but
I think this one could benefit from it.
Yeah, for sure. And they're launching the GI Joe one there. I think they kind of switched stuff. Maybe, and I do have to wonder if maybe they were going to show it at MCM London Comic Con in late May when they were planning on launching it on May the 4th, which I think would have helped, because every time I see it next to somebody, I'm like, oh wow, that's so impressive, and it's just like you get a better sense of the scale than just these pictures of it in a black void.
Yeah,
but I know they're also
and I like there's so much little detail, and they've showed it, but to see it in person, to have people capturing it all over social media, like for real, that feels different. It just feels more legit, I guess, where it's like, this is a real thing with real humans next to it.
Yeah.
You can feel it a little more. Like, I think it's a missed opportunity. I don't know. I get that they don't want to have like two HasLab moments maybe at the same time, especially if they're launching at the event, but it's two different, it's two different things. And it's not like you're going to have money for both at the same time. Right. So
yeah,
it feels like a missed in-person opportunity to me, but I won't be there. But for those who will, it would just be cool to see.
Yeah. If it funds, I guarantee you they'll have it on display either way.
Yeah.
They'll have something there. But if it,
and they mentioned that they're like, come see what you backed.
But if it didn't, that would just be a real sad, bittersweet display. No,
It'd be like
it's gonna back
the Rancor, like the crushed soul.
Yeah.
Yeah. Still feel bad for
him. Thank you, John. I guess I was smiling as they brought out the ghost last year.
Nice. Yeah, they shared the video, and you seeing Chris bring it out, everybody. I think Miko's in the video, and everybody cheering, and just the visceral excitement. I wasn't there, but the secondhand excitement, which
I was cheering at work at my desk. Yeah. I scheduled a meeting that didn't exist.
You were at it. You went to that meeting.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry, my boss probably will watch this someday and be like, "Oh, he's fired." Gotcha.
You were doing research?
Yeah, market research, looking for a potential client, trying to get the Hasbro account.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to move on. Thank you very much to John for going over those questions that you transcribed for us.
For sure.
And we're going to talk about the latest pipeline that was just revealed on Wednesday. A very exciting one. That there's certain things that are just like low-hanging fruit, obvious that need to be done or redone in this case. In this case, we're talking about Moma Nadon Hammerhead, and I say Nadon. That's the way I've always.
Thank you, Moma Nadon. That's how I've always said it. So I was kind of thrown with Moma Nadon, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's probably their guess as good as ours. Honestly, there's no.
Yeah.
And you think about it, like, who came up with that name? Moma Nadon. Like, who was it that sat there one day and started like scribbling out names and seeing what clicked? But, yeah. Anyway, so these are the so far pipelines that are going to tie into the Cantina in some way or another. We got Luke Skywalker, Ben Kenobi, Han Solo. Those three are brand new sculpts. Chewbacca is a retool, so there is some reuse there. And Moma Nadon, I'd assume it'd have to be an all new sculpt because we haven't had this figure since 2006. But yeah, how exciting is it that again, it's such an obvious one, right? People have been asking for a redo to this one for ages. And I know like years ago, probably more than a decade ago. From what I understand, they had a prototype for like a new one that just never made it into the line for whatever reason. So I assume at this point this is going to be brand new, something completely not the old prototype that they have, something brand new. What do we think? Is this going to be deluxe? Because this isn't something they said in the Q&A. Is it deluxe or is it a standard card?
It's got to be deluxe.
Since it's deluxe in Black Series, I have to assume it's deluxe in Vintage.
Mm-hmm.
But and then I know like you've talked with Steve about this, but I really hope that this one, if only this one, and then they can go back to the boxes, but this one has to be on a card.
Yeah.
They can turn his neck sideways like they did in the Kinder days, so he doesn't, stick out. But he has to be on the original 96 card if they can. I know we'll pay more money for him, whatever you got to do to get him out there, but he's got to be carded.
Yeah. Cost it out, by doing a repaint of them in Kenner colors.
Yeah.
And
blue onesie.
I'll buy it. Give me that. I want that. I also want a Kenner Greedo as well. So let's do it.
That's a really good Comic-Con exclusive or PulseCon exclusive, like for next summer. Like, remember when they used to do the special action figure 3-packs, like the Dr. Afra pack?
Yep.
Like do that, but with Hammerhead, with Greedo, with Walrus Man, and those Kenner colors. And that'd be like one of the coolest things ever.
Back when I collected Funko Pops, they did a Funko version of that I think that's one of the very few pop items that I wish that I hadn't gotten rid of because I thought it was just really cool. But anyway, I don't need that filth in my life anymore. I got TVC to buy.
Speaking of filth, I'm looking at the Black Series version, and that sculpt, I'm assuming they're going to use the same digital sculpt.
Yeah.
But nothing wrong with the Black Series. I know if Tyler was here, he would yell at me for saying that Black Series is okay. But I think that sculpt looks amazing, and I'm assuming they're using the same, digital assets to make the Vintage Collection one, and I hope they do because it looks pretty awesome.
And they did the thing for Black Series where the sculpt looks to be mostly the same as the one that was under the robe for Doc Ondar that they did for Black Series.
They have different heads for some reason. But
because there's the goatee on Doc.
But they didn't put in. They didn't put the goatee on the Doc figure, and then everybody was like, "Oh, it's probably because they're just going to reuse it for Momane Don," and they just did a different one for Momane Don anyway. It's like, okay,
cool. They don't feel too bad ever throwing extra tooling at Black Series, but So if maybe they could do that the other way around with this, where we get Momane Don, and then say if Disney Parks is like, "Hey, we want another."
Yes.
Exclusive for the Vintage Collection. That'd be a really easy slam dunk one that they would have to spend very little on doing.
Yeah. Wouldn't it? I mean, it's never going to happen, but and I know it wouldn't be cool, right? But to me, it would kind of be cool if he came with that big double-barreled blaster, the Power of the Force 2 figure had.
Loved that blaster. Yes. Loved that figure's hands could hold nothing but that blaster.
Crazy.
Didn't the Expanded Universe say he was like a gardener or something, like the most peaceful person imaginable, and then he comes
back of the
double barrel.
Card said that,
yeah. Maybe it was like a sprinkler, like a double sprinkler, like a hose to water his plants more efficiently. Yeah.
Yeah, and it also said like affiliation Rebel Alliance. So I guess he was like a rebel or something. And then the 2006 one, which I still think is a great sculpt, even though it's not really articulated very well. But that staff that he came with was always kind of random, but also kind of fun too.
Yeah, made him feel like a shaman or something, or some kind of wise man. I know that in watching those panels again, they're talking about how like the head wasn't even finished when they were filming. So like if you looked at the back, it'd be totally unfinished. It needed to hold together for just as long as they needed to get the shots. And then he's got a Jawa robe around his neck as well. They just kept throwing that around everywhere. And then they repainted him a little bit darker for the holiday special. He got a new name, and I'm kicking myself because I don't remember it, and I will look it up. Somebody in the comments might know it. Bantha Skull just did that great article about all the holiday special characters this week. And so hopefully... I'm looking at the Black Series figure and imagining it's the Vintage Collection scale. So until we get a real glimpse at it, it's Denib Both. Oh my God, Denib Both. How can I forget? Excuse me.
How could you forget that?
So here's the question off of the Hammerhead thing, but looking at the pipeline still. Ben Kenobi, Do you think they're going to do what they just did with Leia and do plastic skirt on him and really, hinder the articulation, or are we going to go soft goods skirt?
That's a good question. I'm gonna go pull up the photo that
Okay.
the pipeline photo, and see if
I hope beyond hope that it is a soft goods skirt.
Yeah. I mean, we have it, like, we have so many good robes now. I just don't see why you wouldn't soft goods this.
Yeah.
Personally, I feel like they have that technique down.
Yeah.
Just keep using it. It works. So
Yeah.
I think
sorry, real quick. He has in the photo, he has a soft goods robe, but I don't know, like the actual like Jedi robes.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about.
the interior.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And they mentioned those
maybe
figures
the
are
top will be plastic, but the actual skirt, because even in like Clone Wars line, that is soft goods. They have both, but they do offer that soft goods skirt. So
because in Black Series he's fully plastic, other than the outer robe. I mean, like his lower skirt is plastic, similar to the new Leia. So I sort of wonder, they'll all, and Luke looked, again, they're not final, but Luke looked to have a plastic lower skirt as well. So I'm sure we'll get a soft goods 3-pack, 4-pack at some point.
But I will just say, so glad Farm by Luke is sculpted clothes and not the horrible little shirt that Black Series had, and that our most recent version, not most recent, but our vintage original trilogy collection version of Luke. It's a little tough at that size.
Yeah. Yep.
But,
cool. Any other thoughts about Hammerhead making it into TVC?
Super stoked.
I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I mean, when that came out, I was like, yes. And I agree. It has to have a card back. I mean, it's just, they said they're going to do the 96. This is, so.
Yeah.
Needs to be carded.
And he sits, for those on eBay going to get older figures, he sits next to Trinto Duwaba, aka the Terminal Man. That figure came with Dice Ibagon as well. And like I said, then there's a goat guy, Cobb's son DePaul, in the same booth. So we need all three. We need to beat the booth. I don't know. We need to finish that little beat.
Finish the alcove.
Yeah. All of the alcove.
Awesome. Yeah, it's an exciting one. Even though it is like kind of an obvious one, it is still exciting to finally get confirmation that he is indeed coming. Yeah. And the right time to announce him, because he is, being announced at least, in time for this HasLab before it's ended. So thanks for that. Let's get another now. Let's be greedy. Let's get another one.
Dodgson 93 says, does Obi-Wan come with his Cerveza Cristal? Those memes a few months ago. Yeah, another drink for the Cantina. Why not?
Love that.
All right, so we're going to shift gears to another topic here. So other uses for the Cantina. So I know the Mos Eisley Cantina, as they talked about, like in that video from a week or two ago with Emily and with photographer
Matthew.
Yeah. As they talked about there, you can use your Cantina for different things, right? It doesn't have to be the Mos Eisley Cantina, or it can be the Mos Eisley Cantina just with different figures, as they explained. But there's other things you can do with this. If you don't have all those figures, you don't want to get all those figures, or you want to use your Cantina for other things, there are other ways to use it. And Lorena, I know we talked a little bit about like possible ways to do that. So I'll let you take point on this topic here. Like, how else can you use your Cantina aside from recreating the Mos Eisley Cantina as seen in A New Hope?
Yeah, and I had talked a little already about the Clone Wars episodes that feature it. I just rewatched last weekend to really get into it and see. So there is the Asajj Ventress, which she's so popular, always on March Madness. So to just get it's a different outfit, right, than the main one. I think we all want the most, but it does also essentially recur in Bad Batch. So to me, that would be getting that built out, and actually Greedo's in that. So that's an easy, we have that, right? So that's a sequence. And then even within that, you have like just little details, because it's the bounty hunter thing, right? So you have this screen, like it's just like this cool thing where she's going to go after Sauvage Opress and, get her vengeance essentially. So you can have all of these little moments. And I think in their stickers, they might even have Sauvage. I'd have to look at them again. But yeah, they have a lot of stuff in the sticker pack in the Cantina that is not A New Hope. Is all throughout. So there's opportunity there. And then there's like two storylines. The other one is the Pantorans. So there's like a kidnapping of the so Chuchi, Senator Chuchi has like I can't remember his title, but he's like the main dude, which is the George Lucas character from the Saga collection that they put out, and I think that was a 4-pack. And so it's like they have him, and then they have the actor, his daughter, were like in Revenge of the Sith cut, but then were like obscurely in the background, maybe in one of the versions. But that is in Clone Wars. They're like, actual characters, and they're in the Cantina. And that was cool. And they do have the characters. I mean, I don't think they're going to remake these, but you can at least have them stand there and look the part. And that has, Weequay in it. So it's just stuff we kind of already have from different, skiff and barge, and you can just kind of make it makes sense. So those two would be ones for me. And then in Bad Batch, there's, not on Tatooine, but they go and meet Finnick. And so it's Hunter and I think Wrecker at that point. And so we have Hunter, so we can create that with Finnick. And it's just like at a booth in a little alcove in the back of this bar on some, I think it's a spaceport. I think it's it's not like a planet, a space station or whatever they call them. And it's cool. You could just make that scene using one of the alcoves, so like they keep pushing the modularity. So that to me is like a great way to repurpose. And then I always think about the accessories when I'm purchasing something. If I'm deciding, do I just want the figure by itself loose, or is the full package worth it for all the extra components you get, right? So like a lot of these Saga ones have extra little stands, or like the Cantina alien ones come with like a little block of the Cantina or whatever. And so you just get all these little things, but this Cantina is coming with 1 million cups, tons of tables, tons of chairs, you got stools, right? So you have booths, like there's so many ways to sit and to hang out. And to me, that's great for like world building and getting those photos where it's like, you're now in Jabba's palace and they're sitting and having a drink there. These things are happening, and we know they're happening, but we don't have that with Jabba's palace, right? So this gives us that to kind of do dual display, or just if you're into the photos. Yeah, so those are like my core uses. And then I'm also a big Obi-Wan fan, and I also read the books. So in my brain, I imagine these scenes. I've done a couple from Brotherhood with Navarro Cantina, and you can just create these scenes from the books, and there's one in Dark Disciple that is like Obi-Wan and Asajj meeting and level 1313 on Coruscant. And I just imagine I was ready to go purchase 3D printed to go make this, and now I'm oh, now I don't have to, I just have to wait forever to get this, and then I can make it. But it's stuff like that. I get so jazzed up about making that. Like, there's a bar in pretty much every single Star Wars world. It's like the pub of the, it's like it's fantasy. So it's like the tavern, of meeting. And so there's always that moment where you can create something out of this that if you get tight enough, you can make it anywhere, in the galaxy. So that's my long-winded excitement about different ways. Yeah. And it's even like, I know it's not the same Cantina, but this holiday special, we got a lot of passion for that. So you can make that happen with this like versioning. You can find ways to angle it or put different, whatever you need to do to isolate. And now we have that front and center, the space theremin to really iconically let everyone know. It's an accidental use of iconic there, sorry. Yeah. But yeah, to me, there's like infinite options, as many stars as there are in space.
Yes. So. When you mentioned, I love all those. When you mentioned Jabba's palace, he even has, like, you can see behind 8D8 in the Book of Boba Fett, he has alcoves back there where people can sit and drink. They're not exactly the same, I know, but if you get the deluxe and you say, gee, maybe I want to put those elsewhere, you can put them in Jabba's palace facing the set we already have, and it'd be awesome.
Yeah, and even the frieze, I'm looking at it, where it's like you can do the walls straight or side. You can put them right behind that. I mean, it's like you could just add it in to give more depth to that scene. So you can have like the curtain pull out and actually people are sitting behind it, not just standing there with no background.
We need someone to tailor little curtains to put on things.
Do that when you do your lighting and your floor. So.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jabba's palace, I can't believe we didn't mention EV-99 yet. That the bartender in The Mandalorian, and then also an original 96 for Return of the Jedi. So it's like they've got options to tie a lot of these things together. The grand unifying theory of the Cantina essentially is where we're at. So, and then
in the Clone Wars, I believe there were two different bartenders. One was a Trillian, like we mentioned, and then one was a 2-1B droid. And those recurred. They were also in Zero, the Hutt's bar in the Clone Wars movie, I believe. He had a little bow tie, and I did research. I forgot to make a post about this, but I most certainly will. Where he has like a slight different things coming out, different tubes coming out of the little microphone thing on his face. But another one, yes, so they can get a 2-1B in the line and finish the 96, and then repaint him a little bit as the Cantina version, which would be in Saw Gerrera's version, but that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But lots of fun ways to set it up. And in that Clone Wars scene, I love when they're talking about Savage Opress, and one of the bounty hunters goes, "Who's Savage Opress?" That sticks with me to this day.
Trevor says that it's also going to appear in the Outlaws game.
That's going to K-Vest to go with it.
Yeah. Also, did anybody pitch when we were talking about figures? We want Rodian 4-pack, and it's just the same Greedo figure, but like, Beto, Speedo, Weedo, and whatever they want to call the fourth one. But
and Clyde. Because so with Greedo, and I know, Lorena, you mentioned some of the Greedo reuses. If you wanted to have any more to say on that, not to steal your thunder, but because I said before, like, he's got the pockets on his vest and the wide shots, and then all the ones that are like in Docking Bay 94 with Jabba, they all have pockets. But then in the close-ups, he got rid of the pockets when they went to LA, and then they have, because they all dressed identically in the background in A New Hope, and then one of them doesn't have a vest. He was the rebel, and then Jabba's palace, they had like the Hoth style puffy vest for Beto and whatever the other guy's name is. Excuse me, I'm a fake fan. But so that's a sculpt I would like them to reuse. And then they reuse him as a Pax Bondkick from the background of Episode 1 back in the day. So they have options for him for sure.
Yeah, honestly, a Rodian sculpt is just like infinite options because there's so many. And like, I'm such a Clone Wars dork. There's like the uncle, like Padme's uncle.
Yeah,
is,
Uncle Ono.
Yep.
and there's like that whole, there's female Rhodian. They look pretty similar head-wise. I think you can make that work. So there's just so many good options.
Yeah.
Plenty of options. And that's the great thing about, something like the Cantina. It's not like the Death Star, that's like a very specific place. You can use it for a Star Destroyer or something, right? Possibly, depending on what it is. But the Cantina is kind of a little more versatile in terms of creating other spaces for different action figures.
Yeah, I didn't even mention like externals. So I know a lot of photographers use Jabba's, like the Han hanging Jabba. That plays that, and then the other, like the Navarro, to create exterior, wherever you want to, but definitely on Tatooine. And when I was doing the Phantom Menace, I used Jabba's Palace to do exterior, actually quite a lot. I got like 4 or 5 different shots that were totally different places, right? And none of them were Jabba's Palace. So it gives that, like, it's really easy to just turn it in on itself, and now you're in this back alleyway. Like even in Obi-Wan Kenobi's show, like they have, when he's feeding a Zeope, like there's that moment, and we need more Eopes in our life, I always say. So I got,
Agreed.
Very cool. All right, so we're gonna shift topics here because I need to give an update on the group buy for Angela's Cantina. So just in case anybody here is new, hasn't heard, in the audience this before, I met Angela in 2018, and we had a coffee, and I talked about, this was like during that period where, I had already gotten her story on Cantina Chatter in 2017, but in 2018, I had a conversation with her about, what is it going to take for you to, to move forward with Lucasfilm? Would you be willing to do that? And part of that was, I assured her that, if you were to sign with them, if that opportunity came about, you wouldn't have to worry about buying the figures, because that was a hang up for her before. I said the community will come together and we will group buy you. We'll buy you the figures. Obviously, 2018, I didn't know it would be a HasLab, right? But that's the form that this took. So we've been doing this group buy. We've been promoting here during Cantina Social Hour, raising donations in order to back an extra bar on Angela's behalf that I will personally, should this back, deliver to her. And we'll do a video and all that about this whole process. But I do want to share some updates on that, because we have received some great donations over the last week since the last episode. Last episode, I name dropped everybody that had donated. So I'm going to go ahead and do some shout outs here once again. So in the last week, we've had a number of donations for Angela's Cantina. John Miko, our friend here, donated $50. Thank you so much, John, for that. We got a donation from Owen Rogers. We got a donation from Richard Bradshaw, a donation from Jeffrey Hetherington, Troy Parker, Jeremy Sargent. Theo Vance donated $100. Theo, thank you so much. Our friend Jason, Middle-Aged Human Man, gave us a donation. Thank you very much, Jason. The guys at SWTVC donated $100. So thank you, John. Thank you, Evan, and SWTVC for donating that. Thank you, Stephen Grimes, who provided a donation of $50. We got a donation from Peter Frawley. Banthaschool.com donated $100. And Daniel Marshman gave us a donation as well. So guess what, you guys? We have raised over the last 2 weeks enough money to fund Angela a deluxe Cantina HasLab. So
awesome.
I'm going to be ordering that tonight.
Love that.
And I already told Angela, hey, we have enough funds to do it, and she's down with the whole mini documentary thing of me delivering it. So we're going to do that. That's coming. We got to wait a bit, if this funds, right, to actually get this in hand. But thanks to everybody who donated.
When.
Really, really, really appreciate you guys. This community is awesome. I love that we were able to get this done and do it quickly. So thank you guys very much for your donations for that. So not accepting any more donations. Thanks to everybody who did donate. We really appreciate you. And all of your names will go on a card that I'm going to be giving her at the time we deliver the Cantina.
Awesome.
All right. So before we get into our final conversation piece here, I do want to give just do a couple of announcements real quick. So Evan and John, you guys are mentioning there is a new episode of the TVC podcast. It's episode 26, Back the Bar. It's a short episode. It's just me talking about, why you should back the bar and, why this is a really important HasLab project, why this is a really critical thing for our collections. So that is available wherever you get your podcasts. So give that a listen if you get a chance. Other thing I want to mention pertains to next week. So next week, Cantina Social Hour. These are the guests we will have. So we have Appetite for Collectibles, Nilda returning to Cantina Social Hour. We've got Toy Anxiety coming on to Cantina Social Hour for the very first time. We haven't had anybody from Toy Anxiety in the past. So we will have Ryan Dole joining us from there. And then returning, the man, the myth, the legend, Dan Curto will be on Cantina Social Hour next week. And we're all going to be talking about more Cantina, right? Different topics, but we're all going to be talking about the Cantina once again. So I hope that everybody comes back and listens to our conversation about the Cantina next week.
Nice.
Love it.
All right. So final topic here, you guys. Final thing. So we do this every week. New acquisitions added to our collection. So if anybody in the chat wants to share what you've added to your collection this week, let us know and I will call it out after we've gone over our items here. So anybody want to go first? Show and tell. Anybody want to go first?
I think we heard Evan's audio.
I think Evan is kind of excited, so let's go ahead and bring
So
him in.
happy. Yes. I just got back from a vacation with at Galaxy's Edge. Did a Savvy's lightsaber. I'm a sucker for that. Victoria, I know we just chatted about it since you just recently went and built your first lightsabers as well.
Yes.
Yeah, love these things. And since we're on the acquisition topic, I also snagged the Kiadi Mundi lightsaber, and that ties in because we're talking about Ithorians. Doc Ondar's on the box back there. Then some figures and whatnot, but I'm sure I'm not the only one that got some figures, and I'm sure someone else will do better justice. So
awesome. And your girlfriend built a saber too, right?
She did. I left that one at work. I forgot to grab it. I've got these displayed on my desk. I went for the power and control this time, but we built sabers back in 2022 as well. Just kind of a fun little anniversary gift. And if anyone out there, if you go to Galaxy's Edge and you're able to swing it and do Savvy's lightsaber building, it is truly a really fun experience. It's pretty magical. I really dig it. It's maybe the happiest I've ever felt in my life, and I don't know what that says about me, but let's not read into it. It's a good time.
Nice. Thank you for sharing your acquisitions. Who wants to go next? Show and tell. Show and tell. All right, Lorena.
I can go. Okay, so I have one that's super relevant to tonight. And this is actually my husband's pickup, and he is Green Cat 66 for people who may see him on the internet. And
yes.
So this is our sorry for all this
nice
green reflection, but this is the clickety clack clack. I don't sorry, I can say it. But yeah, the praying mantis. Awesomeness, and it actually comes with the outside of the Cantina, not with the big circle thing, but just the side of that. And then I got this recently-ish, but I haven't shown it anywhere yet, so I will show it here, which is Owen Lars.
Yes.
And I have Baru, so I'm very excited to actually finally open this guy and get them together and make all kinds of exciting scenes with them. And then finally, almost finally, I have a Clone Wars Cad Bane, which I just got. And I know we have TVC Cad Bane, but I really love Clone Wars. I love the animated look. That's my love. So I'm very excited for him, and he looks like perfect for the animated style. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard to see.
And
then finally, I have a very old pickup from 1984 to share with John specifically. And this is my husband's original. So I just
my gosh.
Sweet
Wow.
let you see.
Sweet Similou.
Yeah. So.
Thank you for bringing him to the party.
Very cool.
That's
Very
awesome.
cool. Those are all great acquisitions. You gotta love Kitty Kikak, praying mantis in a hula skirt. Nothing better than that, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Those are all great pickups. And John, what do you got?
Yes. Well, I got a lot of processing orders. So my R2D2 is coming Monday. Entertainment Earth is processing the rest of the Leia wave. So I'll finally have openers of Leia and Vader, the ones that are packed 2 per case. I've had Luke and the Stormtrooper for 5 years, of course. And then, Zeb is going to be shipping soon. The Captain Enoch set is going to be shipping soon. So I'm excited about those. For me, yes, some people have had them for months on end. And then something I've had for years on end and have always said, one day I'll open it. But I finally had time last weekend to open my big, beautiful, I teased it with the boxes, but my Razor Crest is finally out of the box.
Nice.
Finally,
Love
for the
to
first
see
time in over 2 years. And that beautiful vertical display here. But y'all know what it looks like. You just look over to your shelves that you've had set up. I finally joined the party. I said I can't, waiting for the Ghost. I'm excited for the Cantina. I can't be 3 HasLabs behind. So I figured it was time to finally open it. And it's as amazing as everybody has said. So pretty amazing.
Cool. Better late than never.
Yes, yeah.
Very cool. For me, I really didn't get that much this week. Last week was my big week because, I went to Disneyland and did all that. But I did get a couple of things. I'm going to go ahead and share what I got. So firstly, I got my 3rd Troop Builder pack of these guys here. I've been kind of just doing it slowly because, I don't want to buy a bunch of them all at once. I'm going to go for at least 4. This is my 3rd one, maybe 5. But, for now, I'm just doing little by little. Thankfully, they're still in stock everywhere. And then the other thing I mentioned earlier, I was going to come back to Jurassic World. So here we are. This is a brand new dinosaur. It's called the Beckel Spinax. And this is a really cool one. I know I don't really buy the mainline stuff anymore, but this is a really nicely done one. It features in the new animated series. If you guys have seen Chaos Theory. So that's where it comes from. And it's got this little wheel kind of thing right up here. So when you turn the wheel, it goes like this.
Nice.
So it's nice. Really nice sculpt. I really like what they did with it. It almost looks like an iguana, kind of the way they sculpted the skin. It's pretty cool.
It's like a battle dewback from the Cantina.
Is Chaos Theory a sequel to Camp Cretaceous?
Yes, it is.
Okay, cool.
It takes place years later, but yes.
Cool. I liked that show, so I got to catch up.
Yeah. And that's all I got this week. Very light. My Princess Leia wave is not processed yet at Entertainment Earth, as far as I know. So I'm still waiting on those. I know a lot of people are starting to get those in hand.
I'll send you a Leia. I ended up with 6, but don't
Classic
say I don't
Evan.
like the OT mains, guys. I went hard on these. I got 4 R2s, pretty stoked, and I think I've got 8 Vaders on order. So
Nice.
Very cool. Let's see what the chat has gotten this week. So Pico B1 got Leia and R2 tonight. Very cool. Very timely. John Miko says crap ton processing as well for him.
Mm-hmm.
Right in time to get charged $500 next week per Cantina.
Yeah. Do we expect anything different with these HasLabs anymore? Where it's just like, congrats, we're going to charge you for $1,000 of other stuff when we take $1,000 for the HasLab we want.
We know there's been nothing the past 6 months, but here's everything plus a HasLab all at once.
Yeah, I've been squirreling away for since they announced in March it was coming. I've been squirreling away, so I have enough to just cover it. But
nice.
Yeah,
you
it's
do a savings account specific.
Yeah, that's what it is. Basically what it is.
Yeah.
Let's see. Toys Are the Way says, got my TVC Leia, X-Wing Luke, R2 and Captain Rex, Vader and Stormy on the way too.
Can I just say that I actually was shocked that I did find a Captain Rex in store, in an actual, honest to God, physical retail GameStop in my podunk little town, and I still can't get it shipped to me from anywhere. So
Pico B1 says that he's got Luke Vader and Night Troopers on the way. Cool. High Runner Base also Night Trooper 4-pack about to ship. Yeah, I got the notification from Hasbro Pulse about that. Andrew says, smack like. Yes, please do. Please do if y'all don't mind. Mary says, I got the TVC Vader and R2-D2 in Art Gandalf, Hot Toys, Mace Windu, C-3PO and Stormtrooper with Death Star. Well, very nice. That's a haul, Mary. That you take. Okay, you get the award this week. Let's see. Troy says, I just got the Figure and Dan and Modal Nodes, plus 2 Bespin guards, Helder Spinoza and Isam Edian. Very nice.
Nice.
Trevor picked up Pilot Luke, Leia, and Zeb.
PLA, the typo that will never live them down.
I'm loving that the community has just embraced PLA and it's just part of the vernacular when it's just
like Luke Skywalker.
Yeah. Or Squawker, depending on which side of the box you looked at. 2 typos on 1 box, man. What?
Pico B1 says got Zeb 2 weeks ago, but actually haven't opened him yet. Don't want to miss anybody. Ark says got the carded Black Series through the Cornish Darth Plagueis at long last. Very nice. $72.99 plus I got my TVC Princess Leia R2-D2. Yeah, I had to get that one on eBay like years ago because I never saw Plagueis at retail. Never did.
I think I found him at the Disney store. That was like for some reason they had started getting figures like at that wave, and so it was the only place that had him. It was nuts.
Yeah, that 3 3/4 Black Series. Rogue Killer received Zeb and the Leia Wave. Rudy Smith has picked up 6 TVC 1.0 Revenge of the Sith and AOTC Jedi figures off eBay. Very nice. Can't go wrong with those older TVC figures. 17.2 Nate says TVC Princess Leia and R2-D2. You see what's going on, Entertainment? How come everybody else is getting these and I'm not? Hot Dog. I got R2 from Amazon on sale and it was in really great condition. I think. Oh no, there's one here. Adam got the shirtless Clone Wars Anakin with tattoos.
I regret I actually just got a carded version of that myself this week and I forgot to bring it up, so I'm glad that he shouted it out because that's a fun one.
That is a fun one. Full Layaway from Baymax, Zeb, Night Troopers all coming from Pulse, Judge and Cal from Amazon, waiting on Ezra and Kanan. Java Merchant says, still waiting on Leia ship to ship. Okay, so I'm not the only one. Okay, that's good to know. And I pre-ordered that like right as soon as it went up. So
did I.
I have a reason.
I feel like they started processing the Kanan and Ezra wave before this one. So like every time I order a full case, they're the last to ship. Every time I don't order a case, they're the first to ship. It's always never bit right.
Victoria, did you get the Kanan wave yet?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I got it like really early.
Oh, rub it in, why don't you? I'm dying for that Kanan figure, man.
It looks so good.
It's like, I swear to God, I'm going to have the ghost in hand before I get that Kanan figure.
That's probably why I'm getting Leia. So like they're like, we sent Victoria the Kanan wave early. Let's go ahead and make her wait for the Leia wave.
Yeah,
balance.
And I'll balance his out, I guess.
Yeah, and Lorena, you had the great post of Hera looking between the Kanan's figures.
Yeah, I saw it, like, you just see it, because I have my Rebels, 5 POA on permanent display, and I was like, how can I not,
Yeah.
Because that's what, that would be Hera, like,
yeah.
this is looking much better,
Who's this new guy?
Yeah.
And he needs a season 1 Hera to go with him after my 2 hours of Cantina character requests. In a just world, we'd all be saying, I got the Stranger in TVC this week, right after he showed up in the show, and was one of the coolest things I have ever seen in my life. One of the best fight scenes ever, and then we're going to have to beg for him for the next 80 years. But whatever,
Yeah.
You can get the helmet. So.
Yeah, I do buy some of the helmets, and I was debating it. And then it's sold out. And then Evan was like, it's back in stock. And by the time I looked again, I was like, all right, I'm going to get it. It's out of stock, at least on Pulse. I know it's elsewhere, but
Well, I already told you, John, but I got it, and I don't collect the helmets, and I have bought and sold most of them. So just wait a little bit, and I'll probably be like, you know what, I actually don't need this, and I know you're waiting in the wings then, so we're good.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, for like I don't know if I'm gonna get that helmet, but for like the expensive things like lightsabers or helmets, like I usually go through Amazon because if they do, they're the only ones that'll do like the price match, like if somebody else drops it. So usually, if I have it pre-ordered through there, they'll drop the price. If it drops anywhere else, it will drop on Amazon. So
speaking of the lightsabers, I don't know if it's anywhere else, but GameStop has the Ahsoka white saber in stock now. And I know that other places are showing that as still like October or whatever. Feels like it was shown off like 2 years ago, but
Yeah.
When you said white saber, it sounded like you were saying she's got a widow white saber.
got the widow
like
white
a
saber.
Baby talk, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we need that stranger figure. I'm gonna say it again here. We need that stranger figure in the vintage collection. No exceptions.
Yep.
Gotta happen.
Yep.
Please, Hasbro, don't make us wait forever. We need that figure.
Yep. I'm going to scream. I'm going to keep screaming until we get that figure. Not on this show, though, because I don't want to disrespect everybody's ears.
It's a cantina. Screaming happens sometimes.
Yeah. I'm sure Chimera was hanging out at the cantina at some point. We don't know what his life was like, but
yeah,
he's related to, I don't know.
From the desert comes a stranger, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't Cad Bane. It was.
He's the best kind of Sith, right? I mean, he's a goofball. He's an alcoholic. He's
and we've got a bar to put him in.
He's a philosopher. Yeah, I mean, we have a bar to put him in. He'll fit in right in all those aliens and stuff.
He's a true alchemist as well. So.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, man of many talents. All right, you guys. So we've been going over 2 hours, so we're gonna go and end it there. I have links in the description to all of your socials on SWTVC, the website, the YouTube channel, are all linked below. But just to kind of, run through here again and just, kind of remind everybody where they can follow you guys. Lorena, we'll go ahead and start with you.
Yeah, I am Lorena Writer on all platforms. So if I'm not there, then I'm not there. So.
All right, cool. John?
Yeah, you can see at the Vintage Concepts is my personal Instagram account where I do TVC card back concepts. I kind of stalled on my episode 1 25th anniversary, but I got to get a lot of Acolyte figures. I got to get a lot of Cantina figures, but I got to finish my episode 1 figures first. So don't take it as a slight against those things. But I have a Padme ready to go. I just need to find the time to actually post it. But get excited for that, and you can find both me and Evan at SWTVC, of course. Mostly Instagram, and the podcast is a fun thing we get to do when Evan has time to, he gets to listen to me talk for 2 hours, and then he gets to edit it for hours and hours after that.
Oh,
so
man.
My inner monologue is actually John's voice.
Cool. And Evan?
Yep, at SWTVC, and also on Instagram is at Mile High Ground. You can also find us on YouTube as at SWTVC. That's where we upload, our podcasts and live streams and all that. Want to try to get a live stream going at some point soon. We had some things planned for the podcast coming up, but then, this little HasLab thing kind of took precedent over us talking about things that aren't super time sensitive. So, but we did recently just talk about the episode 1 anniversary and had fun with that. Super fun to do, super fun to talk TVC with you folks, and scream into the void and hope people listen.
Awesome. Well, thank you 3 very much for coming on here. It's been fun. Let's do this again, all of you, at some point. And, we'll definitely have reason to celebrate if this Cantina backs. And just want to remind everybody, you are not charged until this successfully funds. If and when it successfully funds, you'll be charged at that point. They'll take your credit card info, but they're not going to charge you until it actually processes, if it is successful at that point. So back early. Let's get all those tiers unlocked. Time for Tonica, back the bar. Let's do it. This is our one chance to make this happen. And I'll be very happy. You guys will be very happy, and Hasbro will be extremely happy because we'll never have to hear from me again about this topic. And everybody in the chat, thank you for coming on and hanging out with us. We really appreciate you spending your Friday night in the Cantina with us. Everybody that's been chatting and dropping your questions and acquisitions, thank you very much as well. And we look forward to seeing you next week, same time, 6 p.m. Pacific time, Cantina Social Hour next Friday. No matter where you're tuning in from Mad in the Galaxy, thank you for tuning in to Cantina Social Hour. We'll see you next time. Be well, be safe, and the force be with you. Bye.